Tuesday, Andrew. And you have to take off your glasses for Tuesday?
Yeah, absolutely. These are, I need these for far seeing, but we're going to look at something that's happening right here in Hong Kong right now. There's a bit of a war of words brewing.
Okay. What happened on Tuesday?
It erupted over the weekend, but it goes to a bigger issue, and that was this war of words between Grenville Cross, the former head of prosecutions in Hong Kong, and Kevin Zervos, who's going to be retiring as the head of prosecutions.
Yep.
And Grenville Cross kind of came out and saying, what's going on with the ICAC and sitting on the Donald Tsang thing for 18 months, and you haven't been aggressive enough, and, this has got to be resolved. Fair enough. So he's coming out, strong Zervos, and saying, listen, you don't know what you're talking about, you're out of touch, and it's entirely appropriate for the ICAC to take as long as they have to take. This is a big case. And, so there's this question that's been raised about whether or not Donald Tsang is getting fair process given the length of time that the ICAC has been looking at this case.
All right. So how should we assess that?
Well, it is a little mysterious because, Barry Jung got dealt with in short order, Paul Chan, these things are being dealt with much, much, much faster than the Donald Tsang case. And so I think people are looking at the ICAC, and you've got to wonder if there's a little bit of a loss of focus in some of these cases. Once they get past the kind of the high media phase, given all the other distractions the ICAC's had with Timothy Tong and everything, are they dropping the ball on some of these other cases? They just say that don't worry, it's in progress. But is it? It's hard for people on the outside to know.
Well, I think there's a key word in this type of cases, especially the one related to Donald Tsang's corruption accusation. Is related to another jurisdiction.
Right.
Okay, so the key word is jurisdiction.
Okay.
So the other jurisdiction is obviously Macau.
Right.
So whether Macau is being very cooperative or not, we will never know.
Yeah.
But from the surface of it, it seems that it is quite difficult to get information from Macau.
From Macau. Well, and if
that could be one of the reasons for the delay.
It could be. Absolutely could be part of it. But the Macau part seems small, but then of course you've got the Shenzhen aspect of it as well, which is a whole other jurisdiction. And I'm not, like Grenville Cross, I don't have the inside on this one.
Yeah. Right.
Kevin Zervos probably does have a lot more inside information, and he's saying it's okay, but it still seems like Donald Tsang's been hanging out there for a long time. I'm sure he would like it resolved.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think as long as we live in Hong Kong as a special administrative region, the problem related to jurisdiction will always appear in this city. So I think it might be a good case to actually help different jurisdictions to foster more cooperation so that everything can move faster.
Ideally,
so
ideally.
That may be one thing to look at.
Yeah, the other
rather than criticizing, we look forward and see, okay, now it involves 3 jurisdictions, so how can we work closer together?
Yeah. And they, of course, they have their own authorities as well, and hopefully that some of that will happen. The other thing I think we need to look at, though, is reform of the ICAC. And it doesn't need, necessarily root and branch reform, but what we've seen, Harvard Times, we did a story about this earlier in the year, and we looked at it. We had somebody writing from Australia where a lot of jurisdictions, including some of the states in Australia, they imitated our ICAC. Like, straight out, they're like, Hong Kong, we want to do it just like you. And they did, but since then they have evolved theirs. And they have instituted bodies that help to provide oversight and more public, so the public can have a better sense of what their ICAC is doing. But we haven't really developed those mechanisms here. They're not as developed as the ones in other places. So I think maybe we need to look at how other places have evolved their versions of ICAC.
Since you have done a special on that, does any of the jurisdictions other than Hong Kong that they actually elected the commissioner for anti-corruption?
The one that we had, the story we had was written by a professor from University of New South Wales in Australia, because they're one of the places that did this. And the one thing the gentleman did say, they don't elect their commissioner, but one of the oversight bodies is people from the legislature.
Oh, okay.
So it wouldn't, right now our chief executive, there's a little bit of a circular loop there with the chief executive and people inside the ICA kind of police themselves. But this would be like having our LegCo in a body that had direct engagement and oversight of ICAC.
I see.
It might be time for something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's good to draw reference from other jurisdictions.
That's it. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vincent.